NASCAR has just revealed the changes coming to the All-Stars race next month, and some of these will certainly please the fans, and some might annoy some of the drivers. The NASCAR All-Star Race returns to the renovated North Wilkesboro, NC Speedway, with some fresh twists to the race's tactical decision-making. The race will continue with a streamlined format, 2 heat races to determine the All-Star Race starting lineup, a 100-lap All-Star Open, and a 200-lap main event at the iconic 0.625-mile track where the winner receives a $1 million prize. However, various new elements will be included, including a tire strategy component, a new qualifying pit crew challenge, and pitting requirements. This will surely shake up the race. NASCAR and Speedway Motorsports officials just revealed the structure for this year's NASCAR All-Star Race, which will feature a new strategy aspect with numerous tire options, as well as a new-look qualifying procedure at North Wilkesboro Speedway on May 19th. The All-Star Race returns to the historic 0.625-mile circuit for the second year in a row, with a 200-lap main event and a limited field of qualified NASCAR Cup Series drivers racing for a $1 million payout. Teams will have 3 types of Goodyear tires on hand: a basic prime tire, a softer option tire, and wet weather tires if conditions demand. After a successful return to North Wilkesboro Speedway last season, we are thrilled to bring the action back to one of NASCAR's most iconic and storied tracks, said John Probst, NASCAR Senior Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer. The spotlight will certainly be on the crew chiefs and drivers as they plan their tire strategy for this special race. In testing, the softer tires were significantly faster but wore much quicker. Goodyear has been an incredible partner in this all-star element, and it will be fascinating to watch how crew chiefs and drivers manage this unique challenge. The primary tire was designed during Goodyear testing at the repaved circuit last month and will include the standard yellow writing on the sidewall. The alternative tire, which will feature unique red sidewall writing, employs the same rubber formula as the wet weather tires, resulting in better short-term traction but faster wear. Teams must qualify on the prime tire and start the main event on the option tire. Tire changes after those times are at the discretion of the teams. The usage of tire alternatives comes as NASCAR competition officials look for ways to improve the series' short track package, following a March 17th race at Bristol Motor Speedway, when increasing tire wear resulted in an intriguing strategy twist. At Bristol, teams and drivers were compelled to manage their tires, either conserving them to extend their life, or pushing forward at the risk of blistering or failure. According to NASCAR Senior Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer John Probst, the non-points event allows competition officials to float a low-risk trial balloon, and he adds, "Never say never" to the format's future race possibilities. "I would say that we've often used the All-Star Race in the past to try some things," Probst said last weekend at Talladega Superspeedway. "It's an opportunity for us without the pressure of points being paid, and certainly, with the cooperation of Goodyear and our teams, in this case, a chance to just try something. When we were at Bristol, we certainly saw a very entertaining race there when tire wear became something they had to manage, and so it's just an opportunity for us to try it. If it does look good, we will certainly consider it." Eligible drivers are Cup Series points race winners from this season and last year, prior All-Star Race winners who race full-time, and former Cup champions who compete full-time. The top 2 finishers in Sunday's 100-lap All-Star Open preliminary qualifying race will advance to the main event, with a final slot selected by fan voting, which is currently open. Friday's qualifying sessions will determine the starting lineups for both the Open and a pair of 60-lap heat races on Saturday, which will determine the All-Star Race roster. This year's 200-lap main event will feature 2 breaks, one at the halfway mark and another at lap 150. With the following regulations, allotments, and tire details. Teams will have 9 sets of tires for the weekend, 5 sets of primes, 4 sets of options. Teams will have 3 sets of primes and 2 sets of options for the preliminaries, practice, qualifying, heats, open, and 2 sets each of primes and options for the main event. Teams must use all 4 tires of the same type at all times. No mismatching, for instance, of left side primes and right side options. Qualifying for both the All-Star Open and the All-Star Race will be conducted on prime tires. Teams can choose any tire type at the start of practice, heats, or the Open. Teams must start the All-Star Race using option tires. Teams must additionally pit for 4 tires during the midway break of the qualifying heats, the Open, and the All-Star Race. Friday's qualifying for qualified All-Star Race competitors will be structured differently this year, with the Pit Crew Challenge included. Drivers will take the green flag to begin their qualifying effort and complete 1 lap at speed. On the second lap, the driver will pull the vehicle to pit road at the pit lane speed limit for a 4-tire stop and mimic fuel delivery before returning to the circuit and racing back to the checkered flag to finish the qualifying effort. The total elapsed time will decide the pole starting for both the All-Star Race and the opening heat. The Pit Crew Challenge will be judged using a pair of timing lines at the assigned pit boxes, one pit stall forward and one pit stall behind. The crew that makes the fastest penalty-free stop between the timing lines wins the Pit Crew Challenge, and the results decide the pit stall selection order for the main race. That's a way we thought would be a good reward beyond the monetary recognition and the bragging rights you get by winning the pit stop competition, Probst said. But then also that group of guys can affect where their team pits during the All-Star Race. The format was created in collaboration with Speedway Motorsports president and CEO Marcus Smith, who played a key role in reviving the North Wilkesboro circuit after 26 years of near sleep. Kevin Harvick, a 2-time All-Star Race champion in his racing days, offered additional vetting of the concept and will help call this year's festivities from the Fox Sports booth. As we were bringing this all together, in addition to consulting Goodyear and the teams, we wanted to bounce off some more ideas, and Marcus has always been willing to innovate on the side of if it's aero packages or different formats or reconfiguring of racetracks, Probst said. He's always been a proponent of innovating and trying things in the All-Star Race, and this was an example of working with Goodyear and SM to come up with some solutions. We ran them by Kevin in Texas just to get his feel on it and made some modifications based on feedback that he gave us, as far as how long we'd have those stages, if you will, for the All-Star break and what tires they should be on. So thanks to them for just providing the input as far as how we were going to do this. During the 2017 All-Star Race, NASCAR officials offered an option tire, although the experiment had only a little impact on performance and wear. According to Probst, the softer rubber used 7 years ago resulted in lap times roughly half a second faster at Charlotte Motor Speedway. At North Wilkesboro, such a benefit would be more noticeable on a circuit more than twice as short as Charlotte's 1.5-mile configuration. Probst also stated that tire falloff is likely to be more severe this year. Even though NASCAR has used softer compound tires in previous All-Star events on intermediate-sized tracks, Probst stated that the circuit's short tracks remain the primary target for a more aggressive tire strategy, with the 1.366-mile Darlington Raceway serving as an unofficial dividing line between those track types. The moment we get over into the Darlington mile-and-a-half type stuff, that's a little bit different beast, and arguably right now some of the best racing we have going on, Probst said. So I think we would tread pretty lightly when we got into, say, Darlington and above, but certainly that Darlington and below are tracks right now that are squarely in our focus for development of tires. I've learned long ago, never say never, never say always. But if this works, we will experiment with it on the bigger tracks. But it will probably be at a test, not in any kind of points or even exhibition race to start. Probst praised Goodyear's readiness and flexibility in experimenting with alternative tire options, as well as the tire maker's devotion in producing the All-Star Weekend rubber on an accelerated timeline. It's always difficult to ask your tire partner to build a tire like this because they build great tires, and we're asking them to actually build a tire that's going to wear out and maybe fail ultimately if the teams drive it too hard for too long, Probst said. So we're actually trying to thread the needle of making entertaining racing without the tire becoming the overwhelming story from a failure perspective, because in a way it's what we're asking for, but Goodyear as a company is not going to want to be seen with their tires failing even though that's what we're asking for. So we've been asking them to do things that probably make them a little uncomfortable to do from a corporation, but they have been phenomenal to work with. Everything we've asked them to do, they're willing to consider, and in this case, we're taking advantage of a non-points race to get a little aggressive. If this works well, then we'll continue to take steps in this direction and just keep walking down a path of trying to get the tires to really wear out and have to be managed. What are your thoughts for this year's All-Stars race? And who are you rooting for? Let me know in the comments down below.